a peaceful afternoon, a well-known front yard bench, and a few surprising words from the young man next door caught me off guard and shifted how I saw real listening, human bonds, and even my own place in the world. What started as an ordinary chat turned into a lasting memory, not for any big event, but for the quiet truth it showed me. Don't forget to like the video, drop your own thoughts or similar experiences in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss our new stories. Before we dive in, let me know, where are you tuning in from today? I'd really like to hear which towns and cities are here with me for this memory that stuck around for so long. I wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary that day. The sunlight was gentle, the soft kind that rests easily on old brick walls and makes everything feel a little kinder. I was in my late 40s back then, comfortable in my own life, happy with peaceful moments, but always open to the little surprises that life drops when you're not searching. I was carrying a tray of fresh-picked herbs from the garden to the kitchen when I heard him call out, the young man next door. He wasn't a kid anymore. He'd grown into a full adult, home for a while as he figured out his next steps. I'd seen him around over the years in that casual neighbor way. Quick nods over the hedge, friendly hellos, nothing deep. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" he asked. It wasn't the words that made me pause. It was the way he said them. Slow, a little unsure. I turned, still holding the tray, and looked at him properly for the first time in ages. He stood by the low wooden gate, hands in his pockets, eyes calm but thoughtful. "Sure," I said, a bit surprised at how natural it felt. He didn't hurry. That's what I noticed first. A lot of younger folks fill quiet spaces fast, but he let the moment sit. A light wind moved through, bringing the scent of fresh earth and distant baking bread. Somewhere, a bird called softly. "I've been thinking about what it means to really listen," he said after a pause. "You seem to do it well." I gave a small laugh, more from surprise than anything. "I'm not so sure about that." "But it feels real," he answered. "When you talk to someone, you actually wait for their reply. Those simple words hit deeper than I expected. Right then, the whole world seemed to shrink to just the space between our yards. Nothing flashy, just real and human. I saw how often the small everyday things we do go unnoticed. We stood there and talked for a bit about his doubts, about some rough patches I'd walked through years ago, about how life can make you tougher or gentler depending on how you face it. No pressure, no rush, just two people sharing honestly in the warm light. What surprised me most was how carefully he listened. No jumping in, no quick fixes. He took it in, and by doing that, he gave me a gift. The chance to hear my own thoughts in a new way. When I finally went back inside, the sun had moved across the sky. Shadows stretched longer, and something inside me felt different too. Lighter, more awake. In the weeks after, that short talk stayed with me like a soft background song. Life kept its usual rhythm, but a small change had settled in. I caught myself noticing more, the way leaves rustled, how the air smelled after rain, the creak of the garden gate. A few days later, I was out watering plants in the early morning. The sky was still soft and pale. He waved from his side, the usual neighbor wave, but this time it carried a quiet, shared understanding. "Morning," he said. "Morning," I replied with a smile. He walked closer, but kept a comfortable distance. He asked about the tomato plants, how they handled the recent cool nights. I pointed out the ones that always bounced back stronger. It was everyday chat, but it felt full of meaning. Then he paused. "I've been thinking about what you mentioned last time." He shared how he sometimes felt lost, like others had a clear path he missed. I leaned against the fence post, letting the hose rest. "A lot of us act like we have it all figured out," I told him. "It feels safer that way." He nodded. "I've wasted time feeling like I'm too late." I looked at him, really looked, and saw the same quiet worry I'd known in my younger days. "You're not late," I said softly. "You're just starting to learn what really counts for you." The words came out easily, almost like they'd been waiting. Sometimes the best things we say borrow from the hard lessons we've already lived through. We talked more than planned about his family, about choices I'd made long ago, about the relief that comes when old pressures lift. No one was trying to solve anything. We just shared openly. At one point he smiled, a real small one. "I don't get talks like this often," he said. "Me neither," I admitted. When he stepped back, thanking me like the time truly mattered, a gentle warmth spread through me. Not big emotion, just a quiet knowing that I still belonged, still had something worthwhile to offer. That evening, alone with tea on the porch, I understood. Listening had quietly unlocked something in me. Stepping into it didn't feel scary. It felt true. As the warm months came, our chats became a gentle habit. Never planned, just natural pauses, by the gate in the afternoon, on the steps as dusk settled. Nothing that stood out to anyone else, but to me, everything felt a little clearer. I paid closer attention to the sounds around us. Crickets starting their evening song, the soft hum of a fan, the warmth of sun-baked wood. One late afternoon, dark clouds gathered fast, turning the sky a deep blue-gray. He appeared at the gate again, but he was quiet at first. I could see something heavy on his mind. "Do you ever wish you could go back and understand things better?" he asked. "Not to fix them, just to see clearer." I thought about the years I'd rushed through, too focused on getting by to really think. "Sometimes understanding arrives later," I said. "When we finally slow down enough to hear it." He let that sink in. "I'm learning from you," he said, "not because you give directions, but because you let me work it out while you're just there." His honesty moved me. It wasn't about looking up to me. It was simple appreciation, equal and real, and it reminded me how little people my age are, seen as wise guides, instead of just part of the scenery. "I'm learning too," I said, "about staying patient, about what I can still share without losing myself." A few raindrops fell, light and scattered. We both smiled at the timing, then stepped toward our own homes. Before he went, he looked back. "I'm glad you stopped to listen that first day." "So am I," I answered. That night, with rain tapping steadily overhead, I thought about how real connection often arrives softly. It comes in respect and presence, showing that growing doesn't depend on years or plans. It's about being there when someone shares their truth and bravely sharing yours. I rested well that night, calmer than I'd been in a long time. When cooler weather arrived, things changed naturally, the way seasons do. His days got busier. Mine did too. Our talks became less frequent, shorter, softer, like a favorite song turned down low. No awkwardness, just the understanding that some chapters end gently, complete as they are. Our last real conversation stayed with me the most. It was a crisp evening, air cool enough for a sweater. Leaves danced across the path. He was preparing to move on. New work, new place. "I wanted to thank you," he said. He beat me to it. "You've helped me more than I can say." A small, tender feeling rose in me. Not sadness. A small, tender feeling rose in me. Not sadness, just warmth. "You've helped me too," I told him. "You reminded me my words still carry weight." He gave that steady smile. "They do." We stood quietly for a moment. No need to fill it. Respect like that makes silence feel easy. After he left, the street went back to its usual calm. Days passed as they always do. But I carried a new steadiness, a fresh confidence that connection isn't about forcing anything. It's about noticing when it shows up and treating it with care. Time has gone by. I've had countless conversations, met all kinds of people. Yet on calm afternoons when the light falls just so, that memory returns. It gently reminds me. Listening can quietly change everything. Sometimes another's words make you pause.